Hello, Lakers and Timberwolves fans. This is the Showtime and Twolves podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Showtime and Twolves that are available on all of your favorite podcasting apps, at least most of them, I would hope. And if there's one you'd like this show to be on that isn't on right now, let me know. Well, here we are, about a year later, in fact, over a year later, and my voice isn't the same, which is really annoying, so deeply apologize for that. And once again, there's a Timberwolves and Lakers game flashing on the screen with two pretty different rosters compared to even just last season. Remember how a year ago we were coming out of the 9-year hiatus to talk about the the Wolves and Lakers. The Wolves are way up there in the standings, first, second, third in the West. Ultimately wound up third. Of course, got to the conference finals only to get beat by Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. The next year, of course, coming forward, Doncic and the Mavericks were still kind of an issue for the Wolves. And, Doncic finds his way to the Los Angeles Lakers in a crazy trade that happened during the mid-season. Incredible, before the deadline, like a ways before the deadline. And, of course, before the season started, the Minnesota Timberwolves trade Karl Anthony Towns. So, boy, poor Showtime and T-Wolves with Karl Anthony Towns. Only one episode with him on the roster, which is crazy. But the Wolves did have the number one pick one that season. So, again, we started with acquiring Wiggins and ended around the time of getting Karl Anthony Towns on the Minnesota Timberwolves. 2014 and 2015 were the quote-unquote glory years of Showtime and T-Wolves, but at the same time, neither team was particularly good at the time. So the Lakers were getting really old, unfortunately, with Steve Nash and such. The Wolves were like way too young and like nowhere near competing. Whereas now, what's flashing on the screen? The Wolves and Lakers game one of the Western Conference quarterfinals. Yeah, that's right. Luka Doncic winds up on the Lakers. Anthony Davis goes to the Dallas Mavericks. Those are kind of the main cogs in that trade. Luka Doncic is a Laker, which is pretty crazy. So Vince Germano, of course, very excited about that. The Timberwolves then, again, trading Karl Anthony Towns away and in turn acquire Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. It took most of the season, or at least it took about half of the year for the two players to really become more and more acclimated. And once they look like a fairly dangerous team, and maybe, just maybe, the Timberwolves can beat the Lakers. Timberwolves wind up with the 6th seed. The Lakers wind up with the 3rd seed. Last year, the Wolves were the 3rd seed in this situation against the Phoenix Suns, a team that had dominated the Timberwolves forever, basically, for years. And what were they on, like a 7-game win streak, if I remember correctly? And since then, the Wolves have been on a 7-game win streak over the Phoenix Suns, including the 4-game sweep in last season's playoffs. Los Angeles Lakers, well, they went to the conference finals 2 years ago. It looked very promising, but then unfortunately, the Denver Nuggets were victorious in that case. That was 23, if I remember correctly. The Lakers knocking the Warriors out, which made me feel a hell of a lot better. So yes, Vince Germano, the Lakers side of the equation, has about a 6-minute recording here, 6-minute plus recording here to talk about this upcoming series. And we're going to hear from Vince Germano now.
G'day, Joey. Coming into you live from the lovely Phillip Island here in Australia. I'm on an Easter holiday break. So thought I'd give you some thoughts on the T-Wolves and Lakers. It's about 10 to 7 in the morning on my morning walk. Hopefully no Carsby's by, mate. Stuff up the recording. But yeah, look, some thoughts on this first round matchup. It's a series that actually has got me a little... I'm not confident by any means. I'm not confident, and it's your size. Like, Gobert, Randall, Naz Reid, who just seems to turn into Reggie Miller, Steve Kerr every time he plays us. It is amazing what he turns into. Your depth is a bit better than ours, I feel. I feel like it's a way more consistent depth. I feel like you know what you're going to get every night from your guys off the bench in Reed, NAW, and DiVincenzo. On the other hand, with us, I mean, Finney Smith's been okay, but Vincent is massively inconsistent. Jordan Goodwin is solid, and I like him, but we can't rely on him to give us 10 points a night. Connect isn't really going to get a lot of minutes. He probably should get some minutes, I think, but I don't think he will. Alex Len is a non-factor. I'm pretty sure we haven't converted Jemison or Koloko to an actual standard contract. So, and look, if I had my pick out of those two, I'd go Jemison. I just think Koloko's a stick and would get snapped in half by Gobert. So I think the plan would be my plan would be to probably try and run Gobert off the court. Like, no, I don't want to say make him a non-factor, because he's going to be a factor, especially on the defensive end and rebounding, but just try and get him off the court as much as we can and use our small ball. Who's going to guard Edwards? I think it's going to be a job shared between probably Vando, Finney Smith. I think LeBron might get in for a few minutes here and there, although I wouldn't, especially with his latest groin niggle. I also think we're going to attack, like JJ's pretty good at hunting guys that are weak on the opposition defensively. But again, if we hunt Conley, I mean, you take Conley off, you bring DiVincenzo on. I mean, then who do you hunt? Like, McDaniels can play D, Edwards. It's just, I just think you're getting a bit disrespected from a lot of media, especially in LA. Like, I saw like 10 journos all picked us to beat you. Like, and I'm like, well, way to poke the bear. Like, if you guys pin that up on the lockers, that's what I'd be doing. So that worries me. But speaking of poking the bear, let's hope Gobert pokes Doncic a little bit. Get old Luka going. There's a parrot for you, Joey. You'd appreciate that. Let's hope Gobert pokes the bear. Gets Luka going, because we all know how much Luka despises old mate Gobert. So, look, I think it's going to be such a tough, hard-fought series. I wouldn't be surprised to go 7 games, honestly. And the thing is, the West is so wide open. Like, I could see us getting bounced in the first round. I can also see us going all the way to the Western Conference Finals. I could see you guys going to the Western Conference Finals. I could see the Rockets, the Clippers. Everyone's playing good ball. So, look, I'm really looking forward to your show, to hear your thoughts, even from Tanae, old mate Tanae, Levi, and others. I'm already thinking about it, mate, and it's a few days out, so I'm stressed. And I just keep thinking how we're going to combat you guys. It's, even Randall's been so good for you this year, so solid. And the last few weeks, he's been really good, and I knew you'd love him. Like, I loved him in LA. I liked it still. Even when he left, I followed him. Man, you guys, you're a tough team. I think like, if Edwards, I can live with Edwards getting 40, and the rest of the guys not contributing as much, because I think that helps us. The scary thing is when Edwards can give you 25, 26, 27, 28, let's say, and then you get Vincenzo giving you 15, and Conley chipping in with 10, and McDaniels, who people forget about, who will give you 15, and that's when it gets scary with you guys. If you guys can get all that together, I think you guys can beat anyone, including us. So, look, it's going to be a great series, mate, and hopefully I haven't been too puffy for you, because I tell you what, it's a bit hilly here, and at least there's no cars. But look, it's going to be a great series. Hopefully the Lakers can get up. I'm never confident in these things. Even back in the Kobe and Shaq and Kobe and Power days, it's never confident. Just a fear of losing, I guess. But yeah, look, it's going to be fun. I'm going to cut it off right now just before I have a stroke or might heart attack walking and talking. No, not really. But yeah, look, it's going to be fun. Hope everyone's well. Happy Easter to everyone. Look after yourselves, and see you next time.
Ah, yes, finally got to hear Vince Germano's voice on this show again. So coming at about a 10-year hiatus of Vince Germano's voice being on this show. Unfortunately, just, scheduling. I mean, we maybe could have done a show, maybe, but it's like, it's hard to say, international and such. That's what made the show difficult in the past, unfortunately. But yeah, I think we'll do a show at some point, and I've been personally lazy about it. Like, I probably could, say, hey, let's try something, and then we set up a time and such. And then now, of course, potential cleanup season is picking up right now. So that's the annoying part. Just like last year, April, and you head into May and all that. So it's annoying. It's a bummer, but that's how it goes. Otherwise, Vince Germano, great thoughts. Really love what you have to say. And definitely, as they might say, mad respect towards the Timberwolves here. And, of course, I have mad respect going back to the Lakers. Absolutely love Jared Vanderbilt, for one. He's a former Timberwolf. But, Doncic, obviously, he bugs me. But, well, he's a terrible matchup for the Timberwolves. Maybe that's one of the reasons he bugs me. Anthony Davis, to be fair, was a terrible matchup for the Timberwolves as well, though. Wasn't he just a pain in the ass to play against? So as the screen flashes right now, Game 1 of the Western Conference first round, so to speak, we get Reeves throwing up a three and missing by a long ways. That was a pretty lousy shot. Lakers lead 15-7 right now. Obviously, this is not a live show, so but it's just, the Lakers off to a quick start. Anthony Edwards did cross up Rui Hachimura, who I wasn't completely sure on yesterday's show. Timberwolves Explosion was going to be healthy. He had a knee injury coming in, but apparently it wasn't like a serious knee injury. Got crossed up pretty bad by Anthony Edwards and was laying on the floor like, okay, not looking injured, just kind of like, wow, whoops, embarrassed kind of. Doncic hitting a three. Timberwolves and Lakers exchanging threes. The Showtime and the Twolves exchanging threes just now. It looks like the pace has really picked up as we're watching these two buggas going at it. Buggas, just kidding. Not quite. Like, that's the wrong. Bugga is more like, I don't know, like damn it or F or whatever in Australian slang. If I remember correctly, of course, as you noticed, Vince Germano is from Victoria, Australia. For those of you maybe listening, Victoria, which is Melbourne, Australia, listening to the show for the first time, quite possibly. He could be a Lakers fan or a Timberwolves fan locally coming into the fray. Yes, my main basketball show is Timberwolves Explosion, but this one is a nice way to kind of talk about both of our teams. And, Vince Germano is literally one of the coolest people in the world, as you may have heard just now. And, giving us, again, mad respect, talking about our size and our depth, which I do think is a thing. And with the Lakers, it's the star power at the top. You can, of course, get one of the greatest of all time in LeBron James. When people bring up Doncic in the GOAT conversation, which has been brought up a little bit, too early, guys, too early. But obviously Doncic, it's kind of like it's like an odd fit, but it's a perfect fit at the same time. Because he's kind of crazy a little bit. Yet, it's the Lakers. And surprise, surprise, the Lakers are going to acquire somebody of Luka Doncic's ability at some point along the way, as LeBron James is now in his the same decade age group as myself and Vince. It's called the 40s. LeBron James, of course, is significantly younger than both of us, but still, we're all in our 40s. Doncic isn't even 30 yet. Sometimes he looks like he's much older. Sometimes he plays like he's much younger. He's kind of all over the place, but when he's at his best, he's a hell of a player. I will give him respect and credit there. Mavericks, of course, got frustrated with him over the course of time. But yes, the depth with the Timberwolves and the size. Obviously, Rudy Gobert, you think 1 minute he could be a mismatch in a good way for the Lakers, and sometimes he could be a bad mismatch. Maybe like cheap fouls called against him and such, maybe trying to draw him out, as has been brought up in multiple occasions, as the Mavericks definitely exploited Gobert in a bad way last year. And the most infamous play of all was the second game, as Rudy Gobert was pulled out to guard Luka Doncic at the last moment as the Wolves led by 2, and Luka Doncic hit the 3, and that was kind of like the series was just over before it bleeping started. It was so frustrating. So far in the first quarter, Rudy Gobert has 2 fouls and no points, so that's not a good sign at all. But the Wolves are within 4. Nice ball movement all over the place, and then a catch and shoot 3. Doggone it, as the Wolves were only down by 4. It's 7 now. But that's kind of what's happening here in front of us. Just kind of thought we'd keep the blood pumping for the show. It's going to keep coming. It's going to keep coming, hopefully more often, especially with the course of this playoff series, as these 2 teams have not tipped off in the postseason since the Western Conference Finals of 2003 and 2004, over 20 years ago. So this is our first opportunity to actually have both of our teams in a playoff series. So it's kind of cool. Like the Lakers had a very dry period for an extended for a while. Then they got LeBron James and won the 2020 title and so on. And then they started to drop off again. LeBron James breaks the all-time scoring record. And then the Lakers all of a sudden get hot and go on an influential run, only to lose to Denver, the eventual champion, in the conference final. But they've been fairly competitive, and then you make this crazy move, and now they're, considered one of the best in the West, possibly a championship contender. And I do believe the winner of this series goes at least to the West Finals. The winner of this series goes to the West Finals. I don't think the Warriors or the Houston Rockets would beat the Timberwolves or the Los Angeles Lakers in round 2. After that, it kind of depends on where OKC is. They had the best record in the league. They were fantastic throughout the season. But if the OKC Thunder are up to the challenge, then, well, so be it. I guess we're out in the West again, or the Lakers are out in the West again. The 23 second place team in the West are the Lakers, and the 24 second place team was the Wolves. So we'll see who 25 is. Might be one of us. But we'll see. Maybe we'll be the West champs. Maybe one of us will be the West champs. And then ultimately I was picking Cleveland to win the whole thing, which might be a terrible mistake because, what is it, Donovan Mitchell, he's got pretty much no playoff history at all. I mean, he's been to the playoffs, but similar to Mike Conley, former teammates in Utah, Conley and Rudy Gobert, well, they didn't have a whole lot of playoff success in Utah. In fact, it was the first time they ever got to the West Finals. And, yeah, think about it. First time they ever did. And then they had home court and everything. And the Mavericks exploited the mismatches, only to become sacrificial lambs to the eventual champion Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. So, well, we'll see how this goes. We'll probably release another one of these special episodes over the course of this series. Probably. I think at least one more, maybe. If we can, maybe Vince will send another like an update type of thing, like his thoughts a few games into the series, if you want to, Vince, and such. And who knows, maybe by some miracle we could do a short live show. That'd be cool too. But audio submission route totally works if that's the way, if that's more convenient for, obviously, for Vince and myself as well, because scheduling is what it is. It's weird enough that I work second shift, but then when you go to the international clock, it's kind of tough sometimes. Maybe it's very doable. And we did pump out, 15 great episodes, in my opinion, all those years ago. And gosh, it was so much fun. And we had a number of Timberwolves Explosion episodes as well. Me and Vince Germano. He co-hosted a number of Timberwolves Explosion episodes. The most recent one was back in 2018. Sadly, it's been that long. But yeah, we were talking about the draft, if I remember correctly. It was in the early summer. It was awesome. Like the draft had just happened. The Wolves had just gotten a Kogi. That was a fun recording. I had just moved back to Golden Valley, Minnesota at the time, sitting in this exact spot about, 7 years already. Oh my God. But I remember being just super excited to be back in Golden Valley, and it was a beautiful early summer day, and yeah, it was awesome. So anyhow, so I've been basically I just moved to Brooklyn Park when we unfortunately went into a hiatus with the show. And then it's like back to Golden Valley many years, like after about, just 3 years. And then basically every show I've ever done with this one has been in Golden Valley or in Golden Valley and Melbourne. So no Brooklyn Park whatsoever, where plenty of Timberwolves Explosion episodes and the others were recorded in Brooklyn Park for a 3-year period. With that said, though, again, my feelings of this series, I think the Lakers win in 7. Unfortunately, that's not what I want, but I do think the Lakers win in 7 and eventually, over the course of time, lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA Finals. Again, could be an idiotic pick, but I'm going to stick with it for now, and fine, I'm an idiot. You know what I mean? If I'm right, wow. But it's kind of like the matchup people wanted all those years ago when Kobe was still, close enough to his prime and LeBron James was approaching his prime all those years ago when LeBron was on Cleveland and Kobe was in LA. Now LeBron's in LA, and wouldn't that be the most strange, ironic things if LeBron James was playing against the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA Finals, whereas 9 years ago, his one championship in Cleveland that ended the huge drought for the city of Cleveland dating back to 1960 when the Cleveland Browns won an NFL championship before the Super Bowl existed. So Cleveland Browns did win a championship, but again, before the Super Bowl existed, it was an NFL title. So that's pretty cool. But yep, they ended the huge drought, and of all teams, beating those obnoxious, arrogant Golden State Warriors in a 7-game series on the road. It was freaking awesome. Absolutely freaking awesome. I had so much satisfaction watching that arrogance wiped off their face after winning 73 games, and then everybody saying they're better than the 96 Bulls, and that proved they weren't, doggone it. Because the 96 Bulls would have beaten the 2016 Cavaliers. Oh yeah, even with Kyrie Irving and LeBron James. Kyrie Irving is an absolute killer, but I do think Michael and the Bulls would have gotten it done at the end. With that said, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see if we can pump out some more Timberwolves and Lakers conversation. Major respect to the Lakers. Obviously, I know this feels like more like a Timberwolves point of view, but it's not meant to be. Obviously, again, like when you listen to the music, it's got that LA vibe. 1940s LA with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Sounds in the background. That's from Nintendo, of course. I love that music, and I like to think of the old days, Los Angeles. I love that the Lakers have that classic, 80s Lakers look right now on the floor, except for that stupid L. I've never been a fan of the L with the ball, ever. I've never liked that. That's the 2000s Lakers. Great team, obviously, but, man, I've never liked that. And the other thing the Lakers are wearing right now that I despise is the white jerseys. Get rid of the white jerseys. Get rid of them. Like, if you want to have something different other than the gold and then the purple type of thing, like gold for one and purple for the other, bring the sky blue back. Going back to the 1960s, unfortunately when they left Minneapolis. That'd be okay with me though, as a Minneapolis suburb resident, who obviously too young to have physically remembered the Minneapolis Lakers, actually seen them play in person or on a television in those days, 50s and earlier. I would approve the Los Angeles Lakers wearing like a sky blue look that they wore in the 60s as the Los Angeles Lakers. No, it wouldn't have to be a Minneapolis Lakers deal. So that'd be totally fine with me if they did that. I like it more than these stupid white jerseys. It's funny, actually, the last time these two teams played in a series that was about the... Oh no, that was even the year before where the Wolves had gotten a similar situation. That's when they first started with these stupid white jerseys. It was the 2002 and 2003 season when the Wolves for the first time earned home court advantage over anyone and of course lost the series to the Lakers, losing game 1, winning game 2 and 3, and then losing the next 3. Devastating fashion. Kareem Rush got hot oh no, that was the next series, I believe. I keep forgetting which one it was. Yeah, I think it was the West Finals where Kareem Rush went absolutely nuts on the Timberwolves. It was stupid. And, of course, Sam Cassell being injured didn't help. He had Derek Martin at point guard instead of Cassell. And, of course, Troy Bleeping Hudson was hurt at the beginning of the year and was never the same again. Put up some of the stupidest shots you ever saw. Ever. Good news for the Timberwolves right now is that Jaden McDaniels is hitting. So 10 points already. And this is like 1 minute into the second quarter. 2-point lead by the Los Angeles Lakers as I'm wrapping up this episode. So thank you again so much for listening. Go Wolves, go Lakers. It's going to be a great series. I do believe the winner of this series at least gets to the West Finals. What do you think of that? Maybe we'll talk to you in a week or so.